Welcome to Paranormal Perspective. I'm John Lorden, and joining me as always is...
Christy Arnhart.
This is the show where Christy does the research looking into a paranormal or paranormal adjacent topic. She makes her case here in front of a live stream audience, and we put the question to them, is it really paranormal or not? Christy, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to be discussing psychics Ingo Swann and Joseph McMoneagle's time with U.S. government remote viewing programs.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's a paranormal perspective? I thought that'd be a conspiracy consensus.
Well, it's focusing more on their psychic abilities than it is the real world results.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because there's, by the time you guys see this on replay at least, there's going to be a episode of Seriously Mysterious released about the Stargate project. And there is some very real world stuff. Like we have CIA reports about some of this stuff. So I see what you're saying. You're going to lean more into the claims that are... okay, so what's the question that we're putting to the audience here?
Do you believe what they saw was real?
Can we like zone in on what they saw? Like just define that for me.
Well, supposedly this guy went to Mars and saw Martians and whatnot.
Okay. So how about, do you believe he saw actual Mars?
Yeah, that'll work.
Right. Okay. Yes or no? All right. Very curious to see where this is going, Christy.
Well, it was quite the little rabbit hole. And it started, back where all this does for me, back with sightings. I think it probably was. One of the gentlemen that I'll be talking about today was on there talking about one of his remote viewing sessions, and it always stuck with me. So I got to actually look it up and read about it and write it up. So now I get to tell everybody about it. There were two men in this particular reading. Ingo Douglas Swann was one of them. And let me tell you, he's a Renaissance man. He is a psychic, an artist, an author.
He's too busy.
He's
doing too much.
He's got all kinds of stuff going on.
Okay.
Now, one of his many talents is that he can remote view, which is the use of extrasensory perception to perceive distant persons, places, or events. Travel there through the astral plane. Swann said he started having out-of-body experiences at the age of 3. He went in to have his tonsils removed and had an out-of-body experience during the surgery. Afterward, he was able to do that, to replicate it. He was able, he said, to see people's auras, to move objects with his mind. So that surgery really gave him some ability. I never got any abilities with the surgery. That would be nice. But eventually, as he got older, it prompted him to volunteer as a participant in parapsychology studies around the age of 37. And I just think of Ghostbusters every time I think about this. I just think about him go into that little basement room,
Yeah.
So this, of course, is Uri Geller, and I'll be getting to Uri.
Okay.
But Ingo was a prominent Scientologist. Here we have some of his paintings. That's one of his paintings behind him there.
Oh, yeah.
Picture too.
I just noticed. Yeah, that's the same image behind him. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. He was what the internet called a celebrity Scientologist during the 1970s who had attained the level of operating Thetan. When you attain this level, you are supposed to have complete spiritual freedom. And it's also supposed to extend one's psychic abilities, including controlled out-of-body experiences called exteriorization in Scientology. Okay. Now, that is remote viewing. It's what you're dealing with. We who are not Scientologists are the secular world, and we call it remote viewing. They call it exteriorization. Okay. So I'm using remote viewing from now on. So during this time, Swann worked at the Stanford Research Institute, remote viewing. And not surprisingly at this time, the experiments caught the attention of the CIA. So they had to have a look at it because this was, of course, during the Cold War. There were rumors of other agencies doing this very same thing, and we can't fall behind. So
Yep.
Now, this guy, it's crazy. He is actually the one credited with naming this remote viewing. It's crazy. He calls it controlled remote viewing. And I'll explain exactly how it's a controlled situation, but he was endorsed by Uri Geller. And Uri's an illusionist, he's a magician, he's a TV personality, and a self-proclaimed psychic. So
Okay.
he says he's the real deal. Ingo even looked for missing people, and that's something that I've saw a lot with psychics in this area. They always try to find missing people at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have very good luck, though. Out of 25 cases, only 3 were found successfully, which 3 is better than none. But, if you're looking for a psychic powerhouse, 3's not really going to do it there. What he's most known for is his trip to Jupiter and to Saturn. I know. I don't mean to laugh because I think this is funny. I just think this is really neat.
I don't think
Okay.
anyone has gone to Jupiter or Saturn, Christy.
Well, now see, this was before NASA's Voyager probe actually made it there and took pictures as a reference.
Okay.
Ingo says that he traveled there in a remote viewing session. He went to Jupiter. He described many of the planet's features, including rings that we didn't know about at the time.
Mm.
And what I found really neat about this, he described what the atmosphere was like. And accurately.
He said
He
he couldn't breathe.
described, well, no, just, gases. There were crystals in the air. He was talking about the different compounds and things of that nature.
Okay.
There were things that were left out, but I guess you can't expect him to see everything and remark on everything. What I found fascinating about his little trip to Jupiter and then to Saturn was that he wasn't alone when he did that. When you have remote viewers like this, you have 2 that are working together. They both compare notes. You see how accurate the 2 are, because if they both see 2 totally different things, chances are they're not seeing anything. But
Okay.
if they're both in 2 different places seeing the same thing, that's different. His partner was a man named Harold Sherman, who lived in Mountain View, Arkansas, which is just about a half an hour from me. So you had one in California and you had one person in Arkansas doing this remote viewing session. And it was pretty accurate. Like I said, they weren't able to verify a lot of this until after the pictures came back from the probe, but he was pretty spot on.
Okay.
Now, just as a side note, Ingo passed away in 2013 and Mr. Sherman passed away in 1987. So it really wasn't that long after he did his remote viewing things that he passed away. But I thought that was neat. You never hear about anyone from Arkansas unless there's some kind of killer. Seriously. Swann also went to Mars on some of his trips.
Okay.
And he described the planet, what it looked like. I don't remember reading that he had specific sections of Mars that he was able to name, but he did accurately, describe what it was like, what it looked like, things of that nature. But that wasn't the most interesting trip to Mars that somebody took, because there was another remote viewer who took this trip as well. This session was held on May 22nd of 1984, and this man's name was Joseph McMonagle. He was given an envelope with coordinates in it and told to go there 1,000,000 years prior to our date.
Okay. Oh. Well, yeah, I
So,
guess there's no, I
yeah,
mean, if you're going to travel like that through space, of course you can also travel through time, right?
through time, right?
All right. Now, if we could do that,
Yeah.
boy, would we be solving some crimes. Like, I wouldn't want
Oh, I
them,
mean, tell me.
forget going out to space. I want to know what happened, in a
Jack
certain
the Ripper.
house. Right, right. Well, I wouldn't even
Mhm.
forget that. Like, let's take all the active cases, the 60% that we can't solve right now, and let's
Yeah.
start having these guys work that. I don't care
Well,
about a
yeah.
million years ago out in the middle of space. Come on.
And really, I don't know what they were doing here.
Yeah.
He said that this session was unlike any of the ones that he had done before. And I don't think that they ever asked him to do anything like this again. But it amazes me that he was able to do this. Now, if you look at CIA.gov, you can find this paperwork. It tells all about the session and what he saw. McMonagle's name is not listed in that. It was actually redacted for years and years until it was declassified, and it's, only now that we know who it was. He was a U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer who turned out to be a remote viewer. So, according to the documents that were declassified in 2017, he said that he saw huge pyramid-like structures which contained monster rooms, which I think monster rooms meant monstrously large.
Okay.
He remembered seeing tall beings, and he said that he saw violent, raging storms on the planet. He speculated that the inhabitants were using the pyramids for shelter. He said, I started getting an image of human beings that were trapped in a place where the atmosphere was turning bad. It was obvious these people were dying for some reason, but they were humans. They were just twice our size. So that's very interesting. And it brings to mind all the times people say the pyramids were built by giants, that's how the large stones were moved. Well, if Martians were able to help us do that at some point, I guess that would work, wouldn't it?
Okay.
So the Martians that were left on the planet had chose to stay there, and they were basically in the pyramids, and they were going to hibernate until, I guess, someone found them or the atmosphere came back. But he did say the pyramids on Mars are way bigger than the ones we have here on Earth, and that something huge passed through our solar system, and it passed so close to Mars that it ripped away their atmosphere and caused all this trouble. He says that is the cataclysmic event, that it wasn't a nuclear bomb or a reaction or anything like that, that it was just, a large mass of something that tore it away.
Is he a sci-fi author as well?
He's an author, but I don't think he's a sci-fi author.
Oh,
I think he
okay.
writes about his experiences.
Okay.
Now, he claimed that the government has pictures from Mars that prove that life once lived there. And you've shown some of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You have the face on Mars, you have the pyramids.
Yeah.
I know they've taken different pictures since then. They want to say it's pareidolia,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not believing all that.
Yeah, maybe there was like a big Statue of Liberty out there, and now it's crumbled down because of the thing that blew
Well, who
past.
knows? I mean, seriously, if there was a civilization there, they're going to have monuments.
The shape of this is interesting to me, just because it looks like there's not spires, but there's these really hard edges on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this one. This one's interesting to me.
See, the one with the doorway, it's just a picture of what looks like a doorway in the rock face, and that's the monolith. I don't even want to think about that movie, but that's the monolith. And what's weird to me is that you can see the shadow behind the monolith. You can tell that it's standing there because there's a shadow behind it, But the doorway, there's a picture of what looks like a doorway in a rocky outcropping on Mars. And they're like, oh, well, that's just the way the light plays on it. There's no way. There's just no way. I don't believe all that they're trying to feed us here. There have been so many pictures come back from Mars that they've redacted. There have been others that they put out there and people are like, well, this looks like such and such. And everybody's, oh, no, it's not. It's pareidolia. You're not seeing that. Well, all of them? Everything? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Now, I will say that what McMonagle's described on Mars, as far as the landscape, they were able to verify. He talks he talks about the canyons, the significant water erosion. He talks about ancient river valleys and the Valles Marineris. I hope I pronounced that right, which is one of the largest canyon systems in the solar system. And he talked about these before they were verified. So I don't know where he came up with that unless he saw it, but maybe he is flying around the universe using the psychic plane to do it. Because I
Maybe.
have known people who say they can uh, have out of body experiences, that they can leave their own body, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't doubt that he can do a lot of the things he says he does. I don't.
All right. The hard thing is the proof or the validation part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like due to someone's analysis, yeah, we have pictures now, and the person that heard his original interpretation is saying, well, it does look like those pictures. Like that's, for me, that's a pretty, I don't know, it's kind of thin. Like it's, I think it'd be fairly easy, and especially if you have multiple remote viewers, which these programs did,
Mm-hmm.
you might have 20 different guys that are trying experiments like this. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we hear about the one that tapped up close to what
Mm-hmm.
the photos look like. That's kind of where I
So they
just,
say.
yeah, but that's where I kind of hold my reservation. And, you know, like um we've got rovers on Mars now. So
We do.
like for the door, like, you know, we could have
I
driven
think they're
up to it.
lying to us. I think they're lying to us. I do.
I think Elon Musk has
I
an
see what you're
apartment up there.
saying.
But yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
no,
I
I
mean, that's
totally
why he
see what you're
sent
saying.
that's why he sent one of his cars out there. So anyway.
He's got to have something to drive, right? Better be
All
better
right.
than a Cybertruck.
All right, Chrissy, is it time to put it to the audience? Do you
I
believe
think so.
he saw actual Mars? Not an imagination, not it's got to be that he remote viewed actual Mars. We're putting it to the
Oh, yeah.
audience as a simple yes or no right now.
Yeah.
I don't
This
know
is
which
one of
way.
those, when I saw it as a kid, it just blew my mind,
Hmm.
to think that people could travel that way.
Well, we're gonna put it to the audience, but if you're watching this on replay, I'll also have a link to the episode of Seriously Mysterious. It's only gonna be a podcast, but if you haven't checked it out, you really should. But that episode in particular has some information at the end of it, possibly about remote viewing, that you might want to parallel. I'm not gonna drop it in this video, but if you're interested in this, check out that episode and get all the way to the end, and we'll see. Putting it to the audience, we're leaving it open for 5 more seconds. Get your votes in, audience. 5 more seconds. Did he see actual Mars? That is the question. And we are closing it down now. Chrissy, did you vote?
Of course I did. Am I the only one that voted for myself?
Guess what, Christy?
That's too bad. I'm gonna remote view y'all tonight and stick my tongue out at all of you that voted against me.
Don't you remote view me.
Just wait.
Yeah. Chris
Just
in
wait.
chat is saying fame, attention, money, pushing his own beliefs about aliens and making himself a powerful psychic. It's a good point, Chris. There's, with these stories, I think we have to keep in mind the element of human nature, that, you know, some of us are looking for attention in those ways. And before, we had all these mechanisms where we could so easily get it now. So back then, you really had to have a story to grab, or to sell your book, or to get your TV appearance, or whatever. But we have Jenna on the flip side. Government lying about covering up Mars stuff. Maybe. Like, I wouldn't be surprised by
They lie to us
that.
about everything. No, and they lie to us about everything. There's way more going on than we know.
But wouldn't
We're
they
not
have
gonna find
hidden
out.
this guy then? Like, if he was accurate and legit, when they'd like, nope, none of that information's going out.
Well, it's so arbitrary.
I mean,
You can't
proof of
disprove it. You
aliens.
can't prove it.
He's talking proof of aliens. I don't know.
He didn't really
Oh.
have it, though.
Yeah.
I believe
Well,
in them.
Yeah. I know you do, because someone had to vote for yes. Someone got
Somebody had to say yes. Might as well be me.
Christy, we appreciate your hard work and sharing this information with us today. If people have ideas for future episodes, where can they send them?
Well, you can message me on X at Ghost of Christy, or you can send me an email at paranormalpurse, PERS, @gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Please do it again. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, see you on the other side.
Gonna save from the screen tonight. Sean and Chris deal with some fright. Paranormal vibes, we brought the light. And catch us again, it'll be alright. We'll see you soon, don't you fret. Enjoy us.